Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to McAdee's Entertainment. I'm your host as always, Adam McGahee. Just wanted to say thanks again to all of you helping send this channel to the moon. We're quickly approaching 5,800 subscribers, which is absolutely nuts. This insane growth has been all thanks to your constant comments and support. You all are the true heroes. We continue today in our series of videos breaking down the disgusting, but still awesome, rotting heroes and villains from the Marvel Zombies line of comics. In our last video, we covered the full gory story of our hungry man without fear himself, Zombie Daredevil. I will have that video linked in the title card and in the description below. In today's video, we'll be covering the cranium-eating kingpin of crime himself, Zombie Wilson Fisk. Yes, not even our favorite snazzy dressing violent mob boss was safe from the hands of the hellish disease that turned him and countless Marvel heroes and villains into flesh-eating zombies. Unlike some of the other characters that we have covered, Fisk did not appear in the Zombies episode of What If, most likely due to the episode being made before Disney officially made him canon once again in the Hawkeye television series. Still not too crazy about how they treated my boy in that episode though. My man gets introduced for the first time in forever, gets smacked around like a pinball, and then seemingly dies. I know he's probably not dead, but Kingpin deserves better than this. Was dope seeing him shrug off that arrow though. With the upcoming Marvel Zombies series coming to Disney Plus this year, I certainly hope that the infamous crime lord will make an appearance. It's honestly my personal top anticipated Marvel show of 2022. Marvel Zombies is definitely in my top 5 comics of all time, and to get this in animation is a nerd dream come true. Coming back to his comic Zombieverse self, Zombie Kingpin's story is not quite as long as some of the others that we have covered, but it is still quite involved, rather insane, and maybe one of the top Marvel Zombie stories yet. So without further ado, grab yourself an omelet, sit back, relax, and enjoy the full gory story of Zombie Kingpin. Who is he? Zombie Kingpin, like most of the other Marvel characters of this dimension, was infected with a mysterious virus that transformed him into a flesh-eating, but still intelligent undead monster. He comes from Earth 2149, but his origins prior to the outbreak was very similar to his rotund variant that we all know and love from the main Marvel universe of Earth 616. However, things took a drastic change for the worst one terrible day when Ash Williams, yes, the same main man from the Evil Dead movies, was mistakenly slapped into this dimension by a zombie version of the Sentry after the two met at the gates of heaven. Knowing he basically had zombie Superman on his tail, Ash went to seek the help of the Avengers, but the heroes thought he was crazy and had Spider-Man web him up and take him to the authorities. Hey, not cool guys. Spidey, you should know this guy. He named you in Spider-Man 1, gave you a hard time at the theater in Spider-Man 2, and was your fancy French waiter in Spider-Man 3. Come on, vouch for him, please. Later on, Colonel America and the other Avengers responded to a distress call of mysterious purple lightning gathered in the middle of Manhattan. Once they arrived on scene, however, they quickly learned Ash was telling the truth, where they are greeted by Zombie Sentry. See guys, homie tried to tell you and you just didn't listen. Sentry then viciously attacked the heroes, infecting and transforming them into bloodthirsty zombies like him. The newly cannibalized Avengers then stormed the city streets, ripping and tearing into every living thing that they could find. Spider-Man looked on in horror as he swung through the city with Ash. He tried to save who he could, but was quickly jumped by Colonel America, who pounced on the poor guy and took a chunk out of his shoulder. Man, I know we've seen Spidey get wrecked pretty good over the years, but something about this panel just makes me wince each time. It's just nasty. This surprise bite from the Star-Spangled Man caused Spider-Man to drop Ash at the feet of some nearby undead, but was able to save him due to his spider powers keeping the infection at bay. He then took Ash to a nearby rooftop where he revealed that he was still human, but then quickly had to leave to check on his wife and aunt. Being stranded on the skyscraper, Ash yelled for Spidey to get back and help him save the world, only to then be met with none other than Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. Ash then told Frank his story and that he would need some help in ending this undead threat. Castle agreed, but told Ash that he needed to do a bit of house cleaning first. Dude, what possibly could be more important than zombie superheroes eating everybody in sight? Just what, Frank? Please tell me. Castle then reveals just what this house cleaning is by leading Ash to a nearby penthouse where he blows off its doors. It then reveals none other than an uninfected Kingpin, looking extra chunky of course. Dude gives even Big Chungus a run for his money. Hammerhead then pulls his firearm, ready to blow Frank away, only for Kingpin to stop him, declaring that he was actually glad to see the Punisher. Castle then reveals that he had been watching Fisk for a while now and used this unholy epidemic as a distraction to finally make his way to him and plan to end things once and for all. Fisk then quickly tells Castle to get over himself and that what was going on in the streets below was much bigger than themselves. He tells Punisher that these zombie heroes would have to cause them to put their differences aside and team up as humans versus zombies. Whew, that's pretty sick actually. You know, Kingpin and Punisher working together fighting zombies? Man, I wonder what will... Before Fisk's monologue could go any further, Punisher then unloads his weapon into the Kingpin and his men, telling him that he never considered him human in the first place. Okay, much I would have liked to have seen these two psychos work together. That was a pretty good comeback and overall great scene. Man, I love the Punisher. While that may have seemed to be the end of Kingpin's story in Marvel Zombies, it was actually just beginning. Hey, you can't keep a good fist down. As the infection spread throughout the globe, the zombie heroes soon found themselves low on that delicious human meat. Just as I thought they would go hungry, they are then met by the Silver Surfer, who had come to the planet to analyze it to see if it was nourishment enough for his master Galactus to consume. Upon passing health inspection, the Surfer then announced to the zombies that their end had come. Just seeing a nice aluminum foil wrapped lunch, the zombies attacked the Surfer, who, despite putting up a great fight, was defeated after Zombie Hulk bounced through and bit the poor man's head off. Hulk and a small group of heroes then got to nibble on the Surfer's cosmic flesh. Once they were done, they then discovered that they inherited his powers, which they used to roast, toast, and gobble up their fellow zombie friends. Geez, you may have heard of no honor amongst thieves, but there's not even friendship among zombies. At least thieves can be friends. I mean, just look at Nate and Sully in Uncharted. It's a pure definition of bromance. With this new power, the cosmic zombies then combined them to even defeat and eat the mighty Galactus, who came to the Earth to check on the Surfer. Upon eating him, the undead Avengers then leveled up and gained his abilities, which allowed them to venture throughout the galaxy, going planet to planet, completely devouring every living thing in sight. This then brings us back once again to our boy Wilson Fisk. It is then revealed that despite getting lit up like a Christmas tree by the Punisher, he somehow survived the attack and allowed himself to become infected with the virus, which allowed him to live on as an undead corpse. Man, if this dude can survive getting shot close range by an automatic rifle, he definitely can survive that little handgun Maya supposedly shot him with at the end of Hawkeye. Thing probably felt like a little pea shooter to him. With the cosmic zombies gone, the now zombie Kingpin then used his brilliant mind to form a new undead mafia of his own, where he gathered the surviving superpowered villains under his rule. It is revealed that Fisk's beloved uninfected wife Vanessa had survived the events of the plague due to Wilson keeping her safe. He kept her safely tucked away in his facility, where he would order his zombie men to travel the world and bring her food. However, with most supplies being destroyed, the only things they could find were things like canned cat food. Poor Vanessa. Girl's really going through it, isn't she? In order to combat the decimated human food supply, Kingpin worked with the likes of Zombie Jackal to create a human cloning program so he and the others could have an unlimited supply of flesh. He was even working closely with Black Bolt and the Inhumans, who he would invite over for regular dinner parties. Man, this panel is gross. You may have thought the Kaminoans making the clone troopers in Star Wars was unethical. This makes that and Order 66 look pretty tame by comparison. During his reign, Kingpin and his men eventually came across the barely functioning remains of zombie Doctor Strange, who had his head crushed after getting a car dropped on it by Magneto during a battle. He then brought it back to his mansion, where he discovered that despite being practically brain dead, the good doctor was capable of still performing 2 spells. The first, which was rather useless, was the ability to summon unlimited mana from heaven. While this may have been useful to the Israelites roaming the wilderness in the Bible days, it was of no use to flesh-eating zombies. However, the second spell piqued Fisk's curiosity. This spell was the ability to peer into other dimensions. The world that Strange was able to glance into was none other than the main Marvel universe from Earth 616. Here they were able to see the government group Armor, which is sort of like S.H.I.E.L.D., except they are tasked with keeping the multiverses safe. Wanting to spread the zombie gospel and infect this Earth as well, Kingpin, being Kingpin, devised a master plan. They discovered that deep within the Florida swamps, yes, you heard that right, in the Florida swamps, there actually existed the nexus of realities which let them travel to different dimensions. On the 616 Earth, the living vampire Morbius was actually one of the top scientists working for Armor. Fisk then recruited the zombie version of Morbius from this dimension and had him travel through the swamp portal, where he made his way into the main Marvel universe. He then outfitted himself with a prosthetic mouthpiece to make himself look normal, and then infiltrated Armor headquarters, where he beat up his main universe self, held him captive, and took over his role on this Earth. Man, poor Morbius. Just imagine one day you're just chilling at work, just doing your job, and then you run into a deranged zombie version of yourself who messes you up, throws you in a closet, takes your fit, and takes over your life. I'd be so mad. That was my best jacket you just took, bro. Posing as main Morbius, the next part of Kingpin's plan was to send zombie Deadpool through the portal to cause some chaos in the Florida area of the 616 Earth. Here Deadpool was allowed to eat who he wanted, infecting a large portion of this Florida residency. This caught the attention of a small team of heroes who were viciously attacked by Deadpool and the Horde. While most of them were ripped apart by the zombies, Jennifer Kale and Aquarian were able to work together to toss zombie Deadpool into a nearby skiff, which caused him to be chopped up into a nice Deadpool smoothie. However, zombie Ryan Reynolds actually survived this attack. Well, at least his handsome little noggin did. The head was then taken into Armor custody, where it was studied by their scientist. The team knew that with such a powerful threat existing in their universe, they needed to create a vaccine to protect themselves and their heroes against it. The creation of this vaccine was then placed in the hands of Morbius, who, as we know as the audience, was actually zombie Morbius in disguise. The zombie vampire then told the Armor group that they would need a blood sample from a human of the zombieverse, as that would be the only way to create a vaccine powerful enough that would work on this Earth. The mission was then assigned to the superpowered robots, Machine Man and Jocasta, due to their inability to get infected. Now things were playing right into Fisk's undead hands, as this whole mission was actually just a ruse. Once the heroes would get back from the zombieverse, the vaccine would actually be the virus itself that would be injected into all of the Earth's heroes, transforming Earth 616 into another realm of the undead. Honestly, that's pretty brilliant, Fisk. Your body might be a nasty, rotten mess, but that brain of yours is still vibrant as ever. Keep it going, King. Once they teleported their way to the zombieverse, Machine Man and Jocasta managed to blast their way into Kingpin's fortress, where they ran into the uninfected Vanessa. They explained their mission, and Vanessa, being surprisingly calm during this disturbing time, allowed the heroes to collect a blood sample from her so they could get back home. On their way back, Machine Man came across the banquet of Fisk and the others, munching down on the poor clones that Jackal had created. This then caused him to reflect on how his fellow machines were treated back on his Earth. Filling up with rage, Machine Man then burst through the window and began firing upon Kingpin's undead horde, ready to avenge the fallen clones. Didn't really know too much about Machine Man before reading this comic, but man, this dude is awesome! As he blasted, sliced, and shred his way through Kingpin's men, Machine Man then stumbled across zombie Doctor Strange with the open dimensional window to Earth 616. He is then greeted by Kingpin, who in classic villain fashion, gives a monologue where he reveals his entire plan to infect this universe. Before he could attack, Machine Man manages to escape. He is then attacked by zombie Ghost Rider, but slices off his head, steals his bike, and blows up the cloning lab in Fisk's facility. Man, this dude just gets cooler and cooler. Thinking that Machine Man was dead, Jocasta contacts Armor that she had the sample so they could portal her back to the main universe. Upon entering, she sees that zombie Morbius got a little too hungry and began eating and infecting the Armor agents. Come on, bro, you couldn't hold out just a little while longer? Someone tell Jared Leto here to practice some self-control. After a battle with a group of zombies in the New York subway, Machine Man then came face to face with the undead and human dog Lockjaw. Given the cannibal pup's ability to travel to different worlds, Machine Man tore off a piece of his coat, which he had Lockjaw smell, to pin down his world. The pup then generated a portal, which the pair travel through. Once he arrives, he manages to cut down the zombified Armor agents and even defeat zombie Morbius with the help of the main Marvel Universe Morbius, who impales the dude with a wooden stake. Didn't know wooden stakes worked against zombie vampires, but hey, I'm not going to argue the physics of it. It's just cool. Knowing that their mission had failed and that the cloning labs were gone, zombie Black Bolt looks on and asks Fisk what they should do next. We then see Fisk, who just so happened to be enjoying his last meal, which was his poor wife Vanessa. The undead crime lord then remarked that when he's upset, he eats. Man, this panel gets more disturbing every time I look at it. And that is the full gory story of Zombie Kingpin. While it does not reveal his fate after this, it can maybe be assumed that Black Panther and the Acolytes defeated Fisk and the rest when they came back to Earth and built New Wakanda in the middle of New York. That's all just me speculating though. Perhaps Marvel can reveal what officially happened to the mob boss in a future Marvel Zombies sequel comic. Now that would be awesome. I will take all the Marvel Zombies content I can get. I hope we do see Fisk in some way, shape, or form in the upcoming Marvel Zombies series as well. I have no clue what the plot to that show will be, but it would be cool to see a season with a zombified Fisk pulling strings behind the scenes like he did in the comics. Regardless though, I cannot wait for the show and go over it with all of you here on YouTube. What I would love more than anything though is to know what you think. Did you know this about Zombie Kingpin? Was there something I missed? What other comic characters should we cover? Sound off in the comments. Also be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed today's content, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon to be notified of all of our latest videos. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you are awesome and loved. God bless, and I will see you in the next one.